Hello YouTube, Luigi here. Tonight we're going to take a look at a Citizen Quartz diver, their most popular and best-selling model, the BN0151-09L, better known as the ProMaster Quartz diver. For some reason, Citizen is a brand largely underappreciated in spite of their excellent quality. But first things first, wrist check. Today I'm wearing a G-Shock, my only digital watch, the GW-M5610-1ER, and I paid a premium to get it in this color. This model is solar and atomic, and I'm really enjoying it. But let's get back to the Citizen. The story of the Citizen Watch Company begins in 1918, when Tokyo jeweler Kamakichi Yakamazi founded the Shokosha Watch Research Institute and began producing pocket watches, being first sold in 1924 under the name Citizen. Soon the Citizen Watch Company became a major watch producer, but its progress was halted by World War II. After the war, a new era began for Citizen with the arrival of company president Eiichi Yamada. Yamada understood that Citizen's future lay in overseas expansion and created the Citizen Trading Company, marketing the brand all around the world. Yamada focused on technological development, producing a series of mechanical watches that were breakthroughs for the Japanese watch industry. Their first wristwatches to be exported were in 1955. In 1970, Citizen produced the world's first titanium wristwatch, and isn't she a beauty? But it was within the quartz era where most of today's most popular Citizen watches were born. The quartz revolution was a turning point, and while the mechanical watchmakers of Switzerland saw it as a threat, their Japanese counterparts saw it as an opportunity. This is the only picture I could find of Yamada, here in 1981, ceremonially introducing his first quartz watch to India. The Citizen Watch Company produced some of its most important quartz watches in this early era of electronic timekeeping. From 1975 through 1981, the Citizen Watch Company unveiled a new watch with a world's first feature every single year, becoming the leader in quartz watches. But let's jump back to the 21st century and take a deeper look at this EcoDrive ProMaster. I usually don't waste time with unboxings, but I do want to show you how this watch arrived. It was mounted on a pillow within this model of a diver's oxygen tank. It's actually a handsome looking piece and would look cool on a shelf in your man cave. Some say this is a clever bit of packaging, others say it's gimmicky. I think it's both. The first thing you're going to notice is that I swapped out the strap. The ProMaster comes with this typical silicone rubber strap with the accordion pleats near the watch head. I think its color is quite nice, but not being a diver, I thought these non-decompression depth time limits were an unfortunate distraction. Any serious diver would use a computer anyway. Besides, who's expected to read this fine print underwater? I swapped it out for this Hadley Roma Cordura in blue, and I think it's quite complimentary to the watch. I even replaced the tang with the original, so it would match the beautiful satin finish on the watch case and bezel. So let's do the numbers before we do the details. The case diameter is 44 millimeters. I actually measured it at 43.9. Lug to lug is a comfortable 48.8, and she's 11.4 millimeters thick. The lug width is 20 millimeters, and she weighs 93 grams with this Cordura strap. This diver bears an ISO certification to 200 meters of water resistance, so this is a serious dive watch. You see the dial here under studio lighting conditions as a deep blue, but this is somewhat deceiving. To the naked eye, the dial is definitely a blue, but a lot closer to black. The chapter ring is a dead match, and also to the naked eye is the bezel. The indices at 3, 6, and 9 are pentagon shapes with a polished stainless steel chevron at the inside. The 12 o'clock index is similar but wider and resembles a stylized U. All other positions have circular indices and all contain generous amounts of lume. The dial is printed with the characteristic citizen under the 12 o'clock, with eco drive and divers 200 meter above the 6 o'clock. I note that it read divers '(S), and I found that interesting. I would have been more inclined to simply say 200 meter diver and leave the possessive out of it. But it's the handset here that really grabbed me. The minute hand is a stylized large arrow outlined in orange with a syringe tip that almost fully engages the indices. The hour hand is more of a sword shape, outlined in blue, but also with a syringe tip. It falls somewhat short of touching the smaller circular indices. Second hand is white with a nicely shaped counterbalance and a slender arrowhead, also with a long syringe tip. Second hand engages the indices to about the same length as does the minute hand. This has a flat mineral crystal with some anti-reflective coating on its underside. You'll notice a crown at 4 o'clock with protectors that are the right depth to provide protection but not impede getting purchase. The date window is also at 4 o'clock position, outlined in white. This window location necessitated the truncating of the 4 o'clock circular index, which doesn't bother me at all. If the date window were at 3 o'clock position, it would have compromised one of those larger cardinal point indices. Also in this picture, notice how both the chapter ring and hash marks line up perfectly with the indices, and how the second hand ticks exactly on those same hash marks. This is important to me with any quartz watch. The bezel has an aluminum insert in the same dark blue as the dial. It is a 60-click unidirectional bezel whose operation is quite smooth, but not at all loose and sloppy. I've experienced zero back bounce on its positioning. It simply stays put. Here you can see a very nicely brushed 316L stainless steel case and bezel. If you look closely, you may see that the machining at the back of the bezel grooves is not quite up to par. This is the only negative I've come up with on this watch. The geometry of these grooves can't really be called a coin edge, and if it didn't have those gaps between the groupings of the groovings, it would look remarkably like a Seiko bottle cap. This is a solar-powered watch under Citizen's trademark name, EcoDrive, with a Citizen E168 movement. This movement is rated at 15 seconds plus or minus per month, not too shabby. If your power reserve is low, you'll notice the second hand sweeping in 2-second increments. This just means that it needs to be placed in the sun or in bright room lighting. Once fully charged, you can put this watch in a dark drawer for 6 months and find that it'll run like a top when returned to the light. Here we have the screw-down crown nicely signed with Citizen's ProMaster logo on a blasted satinized background. It has excellent pop and 2 positions, quick date set and time setting with hacking. The crown is well sized, nicely textured, and guarded by flanking protectors. The screw-down flat case bag is the same stainless steel as the case and bezel. Among the usual specs found on any case back is included this stern warning. Do not open. Service center repair only. Obviously, Citizen is protective of their ISO rating and doesn't want amateur schmoes like me tinkering around inside with the risk of not restoring the seal properly. The etched globe is a nice touch here as well. Finally, we take a look at the lume. As you can see, the only lume on the bezel is that pip at 12 o'clock position, and even then, it's in a different color, more yellow-green than blue. I have no specs on the lume itself, but I can tell you this. This lume on this very watch took first place in Jody's Loom Wars Episode 4, beating out a Rolex and even a Seiko, which is known for their excellent lume. Now, that's really saying something. I hope you found this video informative. And I trust the brief history lesson of the early days of Citizen wasn't too boring. That's it, everybody. God bless you. I love you all. Take good care and be good to those near you. Ciao.